Well, good evening. I'm in Boise City, Oklahoma, and wanted to give you a little rundown. I'm headed over here to the subway to get some dinner. So let's see. Before I get back to Boise City, let's see what happened. What's been happening? We stayed in Clayton Lake last night. Really quiet, really pretty little lake, teeny tiny little thing. There were people in their RVs and all of the electric sites, and not very many people camping, but it was really quiet. Wow, this is super windy. I'm gonna walk over here, maybe block the wind. So when I got there, or actually on the road yesterday, I realized that I had left all my cash at home in my bedroom. So that was a problem. So I stopped at an ATM and got some more cash. I also realized that I forgot to pick up my rain pants, and I forgot to pick up my little extension cord for charging things. Not a big deal either way, because it's so freaking hot. I would love it to rain right now. I think it's 98 or 99, maybe 100 degrees here. Probably 50% humidity. So ridiculously hot. Just ridiculously hot. So we had a really nice night. It was quiet, like I said. We got up and drove to Clayton, had breakfast, and I started from Clayton. So I went, I don't know, 10 miles to the Texas border from Clayton. So I spent 8 miles or 10 miles in New Mexico. It's, about 15 miles in Texas. And then basically crossed over into Oklahoma and spent the rest of the day in the panhandle of Oklahoma. That panhandle is only about 60 miles wide. No, not that much, not even that much. I think it's like 40 miles wide in the panhandle, but it's going to go on for quite a while. So I'm going to be spending quite a bit of time in the panhandle. Anyways, I stopped in a little town called Felt and had a lunch in their little park there. There was nothing else there. I had to, well, there's maybe 300 people in that town, and there's 3 churches. And so I stopped at one of the churches and got water, and then had lunch in their little park, and then continued on. There is nothing on this route between the towns. There's nothing at all. You can't even, there's not, I mean, the ranches are set way back, miles and miles from the road. So you're just riding on road without any, I might see like one vehicle every 15 or 20 minutes. And it started getting super hot. So I finally got to Boise City. It's spelled B-O-I-S-E. It's not pronounced Boise. It's pronounced Boise City, Oklahoma. Let me go in and buy some stuff, and then I'll come out. Okay, so I just grabbed a Subway here at the Love's Travel Center, which is right next door to my spectacular motel. So I got to Boise City, and I started kind of looking around to see if there was a place I might be able to set up my tent. I checked with there's like 10 churches here in this town. Maybe there's 500 to 800 people in this town. And I couldn't get a hold of, I only got a hold of a couple of churches, and they weren't exactly sure about the policy of staying on their property with a tent. And then I went to, there's a little RV park that I could not get a hold of the owner to find out if I could put a tent there. So they called me back later and said, yeah, $10, you can stay here, but there's no showers or anything, any other amenities. It was just like a place to put the tent. So I did call the police department, and they said I could stay there at their in the city park, no problem. But I kind of decided against that when I went and looked at the park. So yeah, that's it. So I finally just said, well, I'm just gonna get a motel. What the heck? Get a shower, get a motel, get inside, get some air conditioning, because it's 100 freaking degrees here. So like I said, it's 100 freaking degrees here. So I decided I'm just gonna, as long as it's hot, and I mean, I would not mind camping somewhere, but the problem is, what do you do from 3 o'clock in the afternoon until 8 o'clock when it's dark enough to where it starts cooling down? You know, find a shady spot and just try to deal with the heat. It's actually tolerable when I'm pedaling, so I just decided to go ahead and get a room. The biggest problem of the day that I found immediately was that my navigation, the GPX course that I created for my trip, has a major flaw in it, in that when I flipped the file, I didn't account for or realize that there was going to be a problem, because that course, that GPX track, is based on a bicyclist traveling on the other side of the road. So when you flip it, it assumes that you're going to go on the other side of the road in the wrong direction. So it was constantly showing me off course all day. So I ended up having to shut the course off and not even try to navigate. So I was just basically back to getting on the highway and trying to go from point to point, from town to town, and avoiding, or not even getting on the little county roads and the the little farm roads. I was just on the main highway. So I think that's what's going to be happening, because there's really no way to fix that. I'm just going to have to navigate like I used to navigate, just off the map and from town to town. You know, other than that, the day was uneventful. Luckily, the little highways here, or this first day, little highway between Clayton and Texline, which is the little town right at the border, and then Felt, and then Boise City, you know, the highway is not busy at all. There's no shoulder. There's no shoulder at all, and the cars are going 65 miles an hour. But they're pretty, you know, patient and tolerant, and it's not a big deal. So that's what I'm gonna have to do. So that's it. The bike is working good. I I did change a bunch of stuff. I lightened up my backpack. Here, let me just show you. I moved the, I had that on my backpack, so I moved that to there. I tightened up the pack there. That thing was bouncing around a bit. I think that's still going to be a problem. Everything else, that's working well. I've got water in there. I'm probably gonna have to totally fill up with a lot of water tomorrow, because there's not even a house by the side of the road where you can go ask for water. You know, I could always flag somebody down and get some water, but I'm gonna have to carry excess water, basically for an entire day. So I'll have excess water to carry. And then the sleeping bag, all that held up really well. And then I put my tripod up there. That worked good for taking little selfie pictures. The funny thing is, my little horn here in Boise City, a couple of dogs jumped the fence, and a couple of dogs jumped the fence about an hour ago and started chasing me. And so I thought, well, I'm just going to give this a try, even though they weren't, you know, they weren't going to catch me. They were giving me a run for my money. So I pulled out the horn, and it was so hot that the horn didn't work. The CO2 or whatever they've got in there was heated up so much that it just did not activate the horn at all. It just came out like a fog of in a fog. So that was kind of funny. So well, apparently when it's hot, that little horn isn't going to work. So there you have it. That's it from day one. That's a long update. Sorry, folks. I hope you watched the whole thing.